This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 14th day of January in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here is what we're tracking tonight. Attorney for Nazar and Azruddin Mohamed told the High Court today that the Minister of Home Affairs, Unesh Walran, wants to extradite the ruling PPP's main political rival, as he clashed with the attorneys for the government over whether the minister exhibited bias in issuing the order to proceed with the extradition request. In late October, following that request from the U.S. for the leader of the We Invest in Nations party, Azruddin Mohamed, to be extradited along with his father, the Home Affairs Minister issued the order to proceed, triggering the legal process in the magistrate's court. But the Mohammeds, to their attorney Sion Derjon, are contending that the minister, Unesh Walran, did so on the basis of bias. Citing a number of cases, Derjon told the acting Chief Justice Navendra Singh that both the Minister of Home Affairs and the Attorney General have an interest in the outcome of the proceedings because of their political allegiance to the ruling PPP. Minister Walran, like the Attorney General, was a candidate for the PPP Civic at the last elections, and as a consequence of their election, they now sit as members of Parliament and cabinet members in the Irfan Ali administration. Azruddin Mohamed is among 16 members of parliament representing the Win party and is considered to be the presumptive opposition leader. Derjon, while describing the PP Civic as a pressure group, furnished the High Court with 15 statements in which the leaders of the PP Civic, including its leader, President Irfan Ali, its General Secretary, Vice President Barry Jagdeo, and the Executive Member, Attorney General Anil Nandlal, weighed in publicly on the alleged crimes committed by Azruddin Mohamed and his father. The attorney said in those statements, some of which were made in the presence of the Home Affairs Minister during the 2025 election campaign, demonstrated clear bias against the Mohammeds. In summary, he told the court that Minister Walran was misguided by her political motive and her bias when she issued the order to proceed. That order, he argued, was issued even as Nazar Mohamed was facing criminal charges in the magistrate's court related to tax evasion and fraudulent declarations. But the attorney for the Minister of Home Affairs, Senior Counsel Douglas Mendez, who is based in Trinidad and Tobago, told the court that the minister was merely executing her functions in accordance with the laws of Guyana. He argued that while the Minister of Home Affairs issued the order to proceed, she has no control over the outcome of the extradition proceedings in the magistrate's court. In doing so, he was keen on pointing out that the request was made by the U.S. and not by the PP Civic administration. Emphasizing that context was important, Mendez questioned whether the minister ought not to have issued the order, despite the serious allegations leveled against the Mohammeds. Further, he questioned whether the minister should have delegated her functions to someone else, particularly not associated with the government, in breach of the laws and contrary to the country's international obligations. Attorney General Anil Nandlal, the third named respondent in the case, told the court that the theory on which the case is based is absurd. He said the Minister of Home Affairs has not been accused of failing to execute her functions with regards to the laws governing extradition, adding that whether she is biased or not is immaterial. Minister Nandlal argued that by issuing the order to proceed, the Home Affairs Minister was carrying out a mechanical function. Like Mendez, he said it is a magistrate's court which will decide on the outcome of the extradition proceedings.
They filed dozens and dozens of pages of affidavits to say that they are politically persecuted, that the government is biased against them, and they quoted huge excerpts from the Vice President's press conferences, speeches from the President at rallies, speeches from the Vice President at rallies, speeches from the Attorney General at rallies and at political meetings, speeches from the Minister of Home Affairs, all quoting excerpts of what was said about Azruddin Mohamed. To say that we are biased against him, that we are politically persecuting him, and therefore we are disqualified from, one, issuing the authority to proceed the minister, and secondly, from conducting or participating in the extradition process. So we answered that in our affidavits, and we showed the long association the Mohammeds have had in business. We showed of their own self-proclamation, by their own self-proclamation and self-profession. They profess their allegiance to the People's Progressive Party for many, many years. We talk about the OFAC sanctions and what the OFAC sanctions are and what the repercussions are. We detail what the government's position was when the OFAC sanctions came down, that the government made it very clear that they will protect the economy of the country, the financial system of the country, and they will cooperate with the United States of America to ensure compliance with the sanctions, and that is consistent with our position internationally on cross-border crimes, on AML-CFT protocols, and our treaty obligations.
The acting Chief Justice will hand down his decision in the case on the 2nd of February. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. It can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you. Bristow Promotions, in association with the Caribbean Boxing Organization, alongside Guyana Boxing Association, presents Caribbean Boxing Showdown, January 24th, 2026, live at the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall, featuring Guyana's finest: Desmond Amsterdam, Terrence Adam, Delon Charles, Quincy Gold, Edmund DeClue, Joel Williamson, and Jamal Eastman, taking on top contenders from across the Caribbean. Tickets $2,500, ringside $5,000. January 24th. For more information, log on to CaribbeanBoxingOrganization.com.
Ready to position your brand at the heart of the region's most influential energy event? The Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo invites you to become a sponsor and connect directly with leaders shaping the future of energy and industry. Choose from 4 powerful tiers: Platinum, Diamond, Gold, and Silver. As a sponsor, your brand takes center stage, from live press conferences and magazine features to exclusive speaking opportunities and top-tier visibility across every major platform. Enjoy premium exhibition booths, media coverage, and access to hundreds of industry professionals and decision makers. Whether you want to lead discussions, host networking events, or elevate your brand presence, sponsorship puts your company at the forefront of opportunity and innovation.
Hi, miss. It's lovely to see you again. Here you go. Are you interested in purchasing the Christmas cookies? Sure.
Happy holiday, Mom.
Sometimes all it takes is a kind word, a gentle smile, a moment of care.
Did you have a medical trip today?
Oh, yes, I did.
At Massey Stores, the magic of Christmas isn't in the decorations. It's in the people who make you feel seen.
We finance everything with Courts Ready Finance, from educational expenses and those unplanned emergencies. Get it done with financing through Courts Ready Finance. All you need to apply is a valid ID, proof of income, proof of address, and 2 references. Get quick approval and flexible monthly installments, plus credit protection insurance. Apply in store or online at courts.com. Courts Ready Finance. Ready when you are. Conditions apply.
GECOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. Anyone who became 18 years or older on December 31, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GECOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you have changed your address since you were registered, you need to visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your new area of residence to apply for a transfer. Sunday, January 18, 2026 is the last day you can apply for a transfer during this exercise. For more information, contact GECOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
The acting Chancellor of the Judiciary, Justice Roxanne George, has made a case for a number of legislative reforms. Among them, a recommendation for legislative provisions to be made for magistrates to commit convicted persons to the High Court for sentencing in particular cases. Justice George made the case on Tuesday during a special sitting of the full court to mark the opening of the 2026 law year. It was explained that if a magistrate's sentencing power is insufficient to meet the circumstances of a particular case, then the magistrate should be permitted to commit a convicted person to the High Court for sentencing. A case was also made for the jury system to be reviewed.
An assessment of the jury system has to be conducted, both for trials in the High Court and inquests, to inform legislative reform in relation to jury service. In this regard, I'm aware that the Attorney General has said that judge-alone trials are being considered for the High Court. In addition, the Bail Act needs to be reviewed to clarify how applications are to be made.
Just recently, Attorney General Anil Nandlal indicated that the statutory framework was being developed to regulate juries in Guyana. It was also explained that the existing regulations governing juries in the country are outdated and are not governed by any statutory framework. Meanwhile, turning her attention to family law, the acting Chancellor said in cases where there are uncontested divorces on the basis of irretrievable breakdown, the registrars should be allowed to treat with them, or they should be dealt with on paper, particularly when there are no applications relating to children and financial arrangements. Additionally, she said there should be a review of the laws regarding the granting of representation for the estates of deceased persons, especially to permit resealing of grants from non-Commonwealth countries. This, she said, will greatly assist those in the diaspora. At the level of the Court of Appeal, she said there needs to be a review of the rules, the acting Chancellor added.
The Court of Appeal Act and rules need to be reviewed, especially given the continued litigation regarding the jurisdiction of this court and the full court to hear appeals. Concomitantly, there is need for a review of the provisions for the full court for clarity on the appeals to be filed to this court without adding to the caseload of the Court of Appeal.
Additionally, Justice George said there ought to be provisions in place to treat with the taking of notes of evidence and the granting of orders by magistrates, adding that the record of cases by clerks out of court may be amended to permit such notes and records to be made in a digital format. She said other amendments are necessary to remove some statutory administrative and financial accounting responsibilities from the magistrates, explaining that further that as the judiciary moves to implement e-filing in the courts, amendments will have to be made in relation to the filing of charges. And turning her attention to the bar, the acting Chancellor said attorneys must be held more accountable.
The Bar of Guyana needs to be more accountable with a better system for the regulation and discipline of attorneys at law. The Legal Practitioners Act should be amended to cater for the annual registration of all lawyers based on minimum hours of continuing legal education. An educated and regulated legal profession will increase the efficiency and integrity of the administration of justice.
Acting Chancellor George said the judiciary is committed to collaborating with the Attorney General and the Bar in pursuing necessary legislative and procedural reforms. The Guyana Elections Commission has started its preparations for local government elections, which are due sometime this year. The Commission has started to publish advertisements for temporary staff. Contacted by news source this morning, GECOM's Public Relations Officer Yolanda Ward said the law mandates that those elections are held every 3 years. She said June of this year will be the timeline for the elections. She said GECOM, being cognizant of the fact that the elections are due in June this year, has taken preemptive measures on its part to ensure that any time those elections are called, the Elections Commission is ready. This morning, GECOM published a notice announcing its search for qualified persons to be temporary trainers in preparation for the local government elections, and also looking for vendors for production and publication of voter education material. Local government elections were last held in June 2023. If held when it is due, the elections will be held less than a year after general and regional elections. The elections are also coming at a time when opposition parties are still raising concern about the list of electors, with mounting calls for reform of GECOM. A U.S. State Department spokesman has confirmed that the United States will be pausing the issuance of immigrant visas to citizens of 75 countries with effect from the 21st of January 2026. A total of 11 CARICOM nations are on the list. Those CARICOM nations are Antigua and Barbuda, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Haiti, St. Kitts Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Jamaica. Immigrant visas refer to visas being issued for permanent residence in the United States. Non-immigrant visas are not being affected. Those non-immigrant visas are visitors' visas. According to a CNN report, the suspension comes after the State Department directed increased scrutiny on their public charge provision of the immigration law, meant to target those who the U.S. government believes will become a strain on public resources. CNN quoted the State Department spokesman Tommy Pigott as saying that the State Department will use its long-standing authority to deem ineligible potential immigrants who would become a public charge on the U.S. and exploit the generosity of the American people. He confirmed that immigrant visa processing from the 75 countries will be paused until the State Department reassesses immigration processing procedures to prevent the entry of foreign nationals who would take welfare and public benefits. A number of the countries impacted by the visa processing suspension were already included as part of the administration's expanded travel ban list. Non-immigrant or visitors' visas are not affected.
GECOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. Anyone who became 18 years or older on December 31, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GECOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can object to anyone who you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed in the same divisional list as the person you are objecting to. You must visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. It is an offense to make false objections. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Thursday, January 22, 2026. For more information, contact the GECOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
Someone do my
Our own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Washi. Hi people. Washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washing me use wash me clothes and I can say Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks to Washi soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright. Have my clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Stabrook Market.
Your business is built on hard work, vision, and the drive to succeed. At GBTI, we understand what it takes to grow. That's why we offer Grow, a small business service designed to help your business expand, adapt, and reach its full potential. From new opportunities to new milestones, we're here to support you every step of the way. Grow from GBTI. Progress starts here.
GECOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. Anyone who became 18 years or older on December 31, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GECOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can make a claim for registration, change or correction to your particulars, or you can object to the inclusion of anyone who you believe should not be on the list. If you are desirous of making a claim or objection, you must visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to do so. Visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to conduct any of the above transactions. All GECOM registration offices will open Mondays to Fridays from 8 to 18 hours, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 to 14 hours. For more information, contact the GECOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
President Irfan Ali on Tuesday inspected ongoing infrastructure works at Busby Dam on the east bank of the Marara, where a new 4-lane highway is being built to Land of Canaan. Once completed, the road will be another installment of works to be done to create an alternate road to Soosdijk, and will also link the east coast of the Marara to the east bank of the Marara. The president underscored the scale of engineering and planning on the way to support a rapid urban expansion and improve national connectivity. According to President Ali, the 4-lane highway will connect the Mandela Echoes Corridor, the Heroes Highway, and the future Ogle Highway through a large roundabout at Busby Dam, creating what will effectively be a third 4-lane highway along the east bank.
So, as development unfolds and all of the land continues to be developed, we've already cut out what we'll call the third 4-lane highway along the east bank that will now connect the east coast with the east bank, with Soosdijk, with Temeri. So this alignment goes back and interconnect with the Ogle Highway.
The president noted the scale of preparation works required to construct the roadway, pointing out that contractors had to excavate up to 5 to 6 feet of swamp material in some areas before meticulously rebuilding the foundation. He said to get the roadworks and project completed on time, 8 lots are being done simultaneously.
We have 8 lots. Work would have commenced on all 8 lots now. Yes. And this is lot 1. And we are about what percentage on lot 1?
33.
We are about 33% on lot 1. And which is the most advanced lot?
That would be lot 7, Chief.
And what percentage are we on lot 7? Huh?
57%.
57%.
Further, President Ali noted that the highway is being designed to interconnect with the Linden-Suzdijk Highway, extend towards the Mary, and link to the Cherry Jack International Airport and support development of the new Silica City.
So this highway will connect us directly into Georgetown from Mandela. It will be interconnected with the Aubrey Barker Road, and then interconnected with the Ogle four-lane highway going on the east coast, connected to the additional 4-lane going on the old railway embankment on the east coast, then also interconnected with the Heroes Highway and with the old East Bank.
Plans are also on the way to integrate transmission lines and drainage infrastructure for the project and the new communities being developed. The headquarters of the Central Investigations Department of the Guyana Police Force is still to issue a wanted bulletin for the main suspect in the murder of Linden businessman Amar Jones. 27-year-old Amar Jones was gunned down while sitting in his Canter truck 2 weeks ago. He was later arrested on Sunday. While his former girlfriend has been charged and remanded to jail for her alleged role in the murder, there has been no wanted bulletin issued for the gunman, who was identified to the police by a number of persons. News source understands that investigators in Linden dispatched information, including photographs and details about the main suspect, to CID headquarters more than a week ago. But CID has not moved to issue the wanted bulletin. Repeated checks to the Public Relations Office of the police force about the status of the probe and the delay in the wanted bulletin being issued have been met with silence. News source understands that the main suspect is known to law enforcement and currently has at least 2 matters before the court. One of the matters is related to the abduction and robbery of a gold dealer. He was jointly charged in connection with that incident along with a serving member of the police force. The main suspect is reportedly the current boyfriend of the young woman who was charged last week in connection with the murder. The young woman and the businessman who was murdered shared a child together. Moments before he was murdered, he reportedly contacted the ex-girlfriend to pick up his child, giving her his location. Instead of the ex-girlfriend turning up with the child, her boyfriend showed up and opened fire on the young businessman, shooting him multiple times to his body. On the police blotter tonight, a teenager who attempted to rob an 81-year-old man was shot by a 25-year-old licensed firearm holder this morning, just outside of the Brigham Cathedral here in Georgetown. The injured teen collapsed outside a supermarket during his getaway bid and was taken to the hospital after being arrested by the police. He remains hospitalized, nursing a gunshot wound. A report from the police this afternoon stated that the 81-year-old man and his 79-year-old brother were walking along Brigham this morning when 2 young men on bicycles approached them. One of the young men was armed with a knife and attempted to snatch a bag from the 81-year-old. After the elderly man raised an alarm, the licensed firearm holder who was in the vicinity responded and opened fire in the direction of the 2 suspects, hitting one of them to his buttocks while the other escaped. Emergency services were contacted and the injured youth was rushed to the hospital, where he remains on the guard tonight. A full investigation is underway.
Bristow Promotions, in association with the Caribbean Boxing Organization, alongside Guyana Boxing Association, present Caribbean Boxing Showdown, January 24th, 2026, live at the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall, featuring Guyana's finest: Desmond Amsterdam, Terrence Adam, Delon Charles, Quincy Gold, Edmund DeClue, Joel Williamson, and Jamal Eastman, taking on top contenders from across the Caribbean. Tickets $2,500, ringside $5,000. January 24th. For more information, log on to CaribbeanBoxingOrganization.com.
First-time homeowner, ready to build a dream house but worried about getting your plans approved? The single window planning approval system makes it easy. One application, one online platform, faster, simpler house plan approval. Visit our website to kickstart the process at singlewindow.chpa.gov.gy. No running around, no confusion, just clear steps and efficient service, all in one place. Apply, track, and get approved with confidence. The single window system helping first-time homeowners move from planning to building the smart way. Single window planning approval system. Designed for transparency, built for convenience.
GECOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. GECOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. Anyone who became 18 years or older on December 31, 2025, and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. If you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE, you are required to apply for registration if your name is not on the PLE, apply for a transfer if you've changed your address since you were registered, apply for a name change if you have changed your name, or apply for a correction if your registration particulars are incorrect. Any person applying for a change or correction to his or her particulars must provide the required original source documents: birth certificate and deed poll for a name change by deed poll, birth certificate and marriage certificate for a name change by marriage, divorce absolute in the case of a woman who is desirous of reverting to her maiden name from her married name, birth certificate, adoption certificate, or naturalization certificate for correction of minor clerical errors. Visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to conduct any of the above transactions. The claims aspect of this exercise will end on Sunday, January 18, 2026. For more information, contact GECOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
Your business is built on hard work, vision, and the drive to succeed. At GBTI, we understand what it takes to grow. That's why we offer Grow, a small business service designed to help your business expand, adapt, and reach its full potential. From new opportunities to new milestones, we're here to support you every step of the way. Grow from GBTI. Progress starts here.
Fruitopia, Fruitopia, it's the drink that's hype. The citrus punch, fruit punch tastes nice. Guava, pineapple, that give me a vibe. We don't want nothing less compared to the rest. Fruitopia the best. Quench any thirst when it comes to the test. Perfect thing for my lunch. Flavors pack a punch. Fruitopia, Fruitopia, it's the drink that's hype. The citrus punch, fruit punch tastes nice. Fruitopia, the drink that rocks your lunchtime.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall. In the region, a mega trade deal clinched between the European Union and South America's biggest economies after a quarter-century of talks may signal the limits of the Trump administration's pressure tactics in the region, officials and analysts said. According to Reuters, the trade alliance between the EU and South America's Mercosur, comprising Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay, will substantially boost trade ties in a region that saw commerce with China soar in recent decades, while U.S. influence plummeted. But even as U.S. President Donald Trump's administration seeks wider regional alliance, South American governments, from Brazil to Peru, are unlikely to relinquish strengthening ties to China or Europe at a time when they have eclipsed the U.S. in trade in most of the region. If anything, several analysts said Trump's efforts to flex American power in the region may have helped push past the finish line a trade agreement that suffered numerous delays over 2 decades of negotiations. Venezuela's top lawmaker said Tuesday that over 400 people had been freed from prison as part of an ongoing release process, although rights groups say they estimate a much lower figure of between 60 and 70 have been freed in recent days. According to Reuters, the President of the National Assembly and the U.S. President Donald Trump both said last week that large numbers of prisoners would be released as a peace gesture after the U.S. capture of President Nicolas Maduro. The release of people considered political prisoners by the opposition has been one of their long-standing demands. The Venezuelan government has always denied it holds people for political reasons and has said it has already released most of the 2,000 people detained after protests over the 2024 election. During a parliamentary session on Tuesday, the President of the National Assembly said the decision to release some prisoners, not political prisoners, but some politicians who had broken the law and violated the Constitution, people who called for invasion, was granted, adding that this was intended to promote peaceful coexistence. Over 400 had been released, he said, without giving a specific timeline. Local NGOs, however, have said that the number of prisoners freed since Thursday ranges between 60 and 70 and have denounced a slow pace and lack of information surrounding the releases. And finally tonight, international news. At least 32 people have been killed and 66 others injured after a construction crane fell onto a moving train in northeastern Thailand, according to the BBC. The crane derailed the train and crushed some of its carriages, one of which caught a fire. A 1-year-old and an 85-year-old are among those injured, with 7 people in critical condition, according to authorities. Officials say some 171 passengers had been on board the train when the accident occurred at around 9 hours local time. The State Railway of Thailand has launched an investigation into the incident and announced that it is taking legal action against the construction company responsible for the crane. Italian Thai Development Public Company Limited said it expressed regret and it would provide compensation and relief to the families of those who died or were injured. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall, wishing you a pleasant evening.